as always, is Joel Homunculus DeWitte.
Homunculus.
Homunculus?
Homunculus.
Homunculus, yeah.
There it is.
So what bastardized two animals have been merged into one here?
It honestly looks like Ringo Starr, maybe Mozart, and Bette Midler.
Fuck.
That. You know?
Just like side by side, or like a mix. You know, it's like a
It's
two-faced
three-headed
situation.
thing.
You painted a real word picture with that one.
Ringo Starr, Mozart, and Bette Midler. I'm not going to send you the photo. You just have to figure it out later. Because we also have Drew, Dark God, and Minions, Staton.
Dark God and Minions?
Yep.
Are these all from video games?
No, these are all movies and TV shows. This one is a movie. It's also the screen debut of Steven Dorff.
Oh, God.
Everyone's favorite.
Dark God and Minions. Is this the gate?
It is the gate.
Is it?
Yeah.
Awesome. Baller. I'll take it. Yeah.
I went for another look for
Fine with it.
Lovecraftian thing, and I'm like, wow, Drew got it again.
I've never seen that movie all the way through. I've seen bits and pieces because, like, the last time I had the opportunity, I think I was 8, and my mother came in. She was like, "What are you watching? Turn that off." I'm like, So yeah, it was short lived.
Oh my God, I'm gonna have to send a photo to the group and maybe even put it on our post for Matt's nickname because it's just so good. We also have Matt, Zombie Dog, The Groke, Dykes.
I know that. I know. I don't know what it looks like, but I've heard the Groke. I don't know where.
Oh my God.
Don't know why.
Just so we can get reaction in live time on the podcast, I just put it in our chat so you can see what the Groke looks like. It's a spitting image of Matt.
Kind of looks like Grimace from a quick glance.
It does kind of. It looks like Grimace with like a Hershey's Kiss punched out of its face.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean that's post-lockdown me.
It's perfect.
Yeah, we all
Seriously.
got fat and turned purple during lockdown, didn't we? Or was it just me?
I think you caught COVID, man. Isn't that one of the side effects?
I mean, if you're turning purple, you might be a little concerned about your oxygen flow. So yeah, COVID.
Fat and purple. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I've not been writing.
This week on Who, What, When, Where, and Why We Do in the Shadows, we are covering The Curse. Oh boy, does the Cauldron, there I remembered, get a nasty curse on him this week. Guillermo goes out vampire hunting by accident, and yeah, calamity ensues. I haven't been doing this much this season, or even a lot last season, but I'm curious, how do people feel about this episode? Where are we at on this one? Because I will say, as much as I love this episode, it's not as high up in the ranks as other ones have been.
I think this is another case of, for me, when we were doing, was it the Nightclub and Animal Control we recorded at the same time?
Maybe.
And I think this season, this is that recording session, because every time I went back to watch The Curse, I was like, I don't really remember a lot of this episode. And then there's like, you know, more and more stats coming back as I'm watching it. But I think for the most part, like, you know, I don't want to say it's forgettable, but it doesn't stick in your mind. It doesn't stick in my mind anyway as much as some of the other episodes do.
Right. And through no fault of the show, it is smack in between two titans of episodes. So like it is kind of like if you rolled right into the next one, which I know Matt didn't, but some of us might have. Like the one before and after are two of the funniest things in the entire series. So it's kind of, it does get a little lost in the shuffle, at least in my opinion. But I'm sorry to cut you off, Drew. You were saying?
No, I was gonna say, like, I feel like this episode is really I don't want to say that the curse was filler, because I think it. Sorry, I meant the email curse that they're having to deal with. I feel like, and I don't want to say filler, but it's kind of filler for Guillermo's arc in this, going out doing, because like just thinking about it logistically, like as a filmmaker, like they were on location, they weren't in the house, so they weren't on stage. They were going around a house. There were extra people. They had to bounce around. There was driving involved. Like that took up most of the filming of this episode, just logistically. And I feel like the other part of it was so they had stuff to cut between, and I think that's why it feels like it's a little bit low. That being said, though, Colin Robinson in this episode is goddamn hilarious.
I mean, everything in the episode is still very funny, and I still enjoy all of it. And like I think the bigger problem is, and maybe problem's the wrong word, the issue maybe is the fact that like the Guillermo stuff is amazing, but it's not very funny, and the cauldron stuff, I like using it more and more now, is very funny, but not that amazing. It's just kind of like, it's just kind of like a funny Tuesday. So like they're kind of at odds. Like they both have strong suits, but they don't really complement each other that well. And I think that's kind of why this episode gets a little lost. Joel, what did you think before we move on too far?
I think Drew sort of hit the main points. I do like the focus on Guillermo because they've fleshed out his character in meaningful ways that has put him on the same level as all the vampires that I didn't feel like he was before. And he's grown to his own in this way. And he's still this like unsteady, unsure of himself, worried about what he is kind of character. But the way he sort of like Mr. Medusa himself into this vampire hunt and the chain of events that happened. I know you guys didn't say it's the funniest part, but I loved everything that happened in that scene at the end.
In which, like, when they go hunting?
Yes.
Oh, the hunt is fantastic. Like, the hunt is just great, because these idiots are just idiots. And, like, everything about the hunt... I know we're supposed to go chronologically, but now that we're kind of talking about it, I just want to talk about the hunt. The hunt is so good, because up until they are vampire hunting, they're breaking and entering.
Yeah.
And
Guillermo, throughout the whole thing's going, these people are
Absolutely.
vampires, we could get arrested for this.
Yeah, you just broke into someone's house who has kids with a bunch of weapons to murder them.
Yeah.
Like, you're so lucky they were vampires.
And leading up to it, like him panicking that they're going to go to his master's house.
Yeah.
He's asking if the bushes look like...
Like,
Do they look like
but
vaginas?
then you just have that Derek just go, my man.
And they show up at the house, and he's so elated that it's not there.
like,
but then he's thrown right
that's
back
nice.
into panic mode, because then he realizes, wait, these chuckle fucks are actually going to go through with this.
And like, the best thing about it is, she agrees. Do they look like vaginas? Sure, I guess some of them could be considered of the adult nature. What the fuck was she talking about?
Balls.
Does she just think that all shrubbery looks phallic? Like, there's a whole problem there. Like, the fact that she thinks all shrubbery looks adult is like, okay. That's a
called-
lot to process.
That's called projection.
That's true.
I mean, I to be fair, I am looking at trees, and they are quite erotic now.
I think that's on you.
Okay.
But you know what?
I'll bring that up with my therapist.
Enjoy whatever it is that you enjoy.
Yeah.
Anyhow,
I'm not going to taint shame here. Yeah.
that's not what I'm here to do. I'm just here to question everything. Anyhow,
I'm just here to question your life choices.
yeah, I'm not here to judge. I'm just here to question. That's different, right?
Apparently.
So let's dial it back. Let's go back to the beginning of this thing where they're actually going to go and get their curse. Like, let's talk a little bit of the vampires. We'll move back into Guillermo, because that is kind of like the crux and like the actual story thing. I just had to the idea of them fucking just breaking and entering, and they're lucky that they get murdered by vampires, because otherwise they definitely should have gone to jail. It just warms my heart. But I mean, if you're watching the show for the vampires really, their story is more the B story this week, which is, it feels odd, but it also works. Like, it works surprisingly well, and I think this kind of really leans into what we were talking about last week, or where we finished the episode last week, where how much of this is improv and how much this is writing. Because I feel like a lot of this stuff relied on them being funny together. Like, the writing could have been the best in the world, but the long and the short of it is, we're really just going to beat to death a meme from the 90s.
Yeah.
If these people aren't funny together, this whole section is the most boring, non-funny thing possible.
I think the second season is probably the time to do an episode like this, because at that point, you know, the actors have got the chemistry down. They've been working together for over a year, so that they have that sort of interaction. Like, they know their characters a lot more, so you could do something like this in like the second season. They tried this in like the first season. Say this was episode 4 of the first season. I don't think it would have worked, basically, because I don't think they would have known the characters well enough. And I don't think they would have, you know, they have chemistry.
Yeah.
But I think in terms of like an improv situation, you need more chemistry than when it's scripted, because when it's scripted, you've got the lines that you're reading down. It's just more about, you know, having like that relationship between them, or at least faking it.
Yeah.
You know, and I think, yeah, when it comes to improv, and you've got to have, you know, your character, so it doesn't sound like you're just an improv person just riffing, and you've also got to have the chemistry between the people who are improvising, like, you know, sort of as performers rather than as, you know, as just the people, like, you know, as just reading lines from a script, essentially.
It is,
which I know is a complete simplification of acting.
It is because those characters are so well established and set in stone, and that, you know, now you've been watching long enough, you know what they are, and they can just go with that. Like, it's kind of like Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I didn't watch too much into it, but you got to a point where there's an episode called Charlie McDennis, and that episode in and of itself would be a terrible place to start the show, because the whole point of the episode is, you know who these characters are. Now watch this ridiculous system that they go through this whole episode, and they just elevate the characters through that.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't think this episode will stick with me quite as well as Charlie McDennis does, because nail on the hammer, man. Like, that episode is fucking brilliant.
Oh,
but
yeah.
you're absolutely right. If you don't know the show, that episode is just nonsense and kind of hard to watch. I don't think this episode was quite that far. Like, I think you could dive into this basically if you had a computer in the 90s. You get the joke. For me, it's more so just the fact that it is such a thin joke. There's not a lot there.
Yeah,
you look at what they have to do in this episode. They open an email, they read the quote-unquote curse, they show it to each other, and then they spend the rest of the episode trying to gather 10 emails to send this curse onto. That's it.
You know, one of the little details that just had me in stitches, when Guillermo first gives him the computer, Nandor, and like he's doing the old man hunt and peck keyboarding.
Oh, yeah.
on it all. And anybody who has an elder parent and watch
Oh
them
my
use
God.
technology,
Oh
that's
my
a
God.
perfect encapsulation of all that.
I used to shove my dad out of the way and just type in his passwords, because his password was like 8 characters long, and it would take him over a minute.
God help if any of them are capitalized. Oh,
Impenetrable fortress.
That's my password.
That's my password. I have 2 emails. The first one, yeah, that's the other thing. Like, anyone who is not of our generation is like, oh, I got an email from Fandango. I've been invited to a screening of The Blind Side 2000. I missed it. Like,
and Colin Robinson just rubbing it in like that. Oh, you're too
yeah, it's
late.
like, oh, she was fantastic. Like, she was
It's like
great.
you've seen
Geniality,
Sandra,
Miss
you've seen Sandra Bullock in
you've seen Speed. Miss Congeniality, Miss Congeniality 2. I mean, she's
Speed
just...
2?
And then he finally hisses at him, and it's like, well, that's just rude, and just walks off. It's like, are you kidding me? And then the fucking music vamp, you are now cursed. Boom. It's just like, I know exactly where this episode is going, and we are already in 5th gear. I'm here for it. Like...
I also like just the little things in this episode that work so well too. Like, every time they read the curse, Nandor throws his hand up in front of Nadia's eyes to protect her. Eventually, at some point, she even calls him out like, "What are you doing? Your arm isn't bloody curse-proof."
I do like as well how Laszlo keeps referring back to Ariana. It's like, did I tell you about the time when Ariana's guts were ripped out? Yes, we just read the email.
There's a great moment too when they go down to Colin to basically seek help, asking if he can take their email, and then he just goes through the chain of who he's going to send it to, where they're going to send it to, and it's how does he make something so mundane and dull so funny? It's about as good as the bat from Laszlo.
But like,
I can't remember the person's name, but like the last person he released as well is like, oh, and when it gets to whoever it is, then I'll be getting words or something like that.
Then I'll be getting a talking to.
That's it, yeah.
I also just love the whole, oh, sure, I guess I can give you my email address. Here, let me find a pen and paper to write it. Just tell me the email address. No, I should write it down for you. Just tell it to me. You never know with internet security like it is these days. You wouldn't want that to go astray. So let me make sure I read it. It's just,
and he's
just see. Laszlo knows what's happening. He knows he's being fed on.
Yes.
But he still needs that email address.
My favorite about that though is he picks up the pen and is like, oh, this one's not working. Go with the old reliable Bic.
Just the look on Laszlo's face as he's getting more and more drained, as he's just like falling asleep. Just like, just give me the fucking email address. Just give it. It's so good.
I think the peak for me, and this is kind of me giving away my favorite moment, but Guillermo's trying to call them and warn them that the vampires are coming. And of course, they've been freaking out about this curse, and just like the voicemail comes up, and the voice message is Guillermo saying, this is the residence of Nandor, Laszlo, and Nadia. And you hear right behind, and Colin Robinson.
I have never caught that. I've seen this episode so many times. I have never caught that. That's fucking hilarious.
It's so quick, and your focus is on something else for the most part. I caught it this last watch, and I was just like, oh my god, that is perfect on both levels. Like, he is, number one, trying to make sure he isn't forgotten about, and then number two, actively being annoying throughout the whole process. And then Guillermo's message just being like the sound of terror, like, you have to get out of the house, you're in great danger. It just plays into the whole freaking out about the curse all the much better.
He even drops the same thing from the email of, this is not a joke.
Yes.
Get out now, you're gonna die, this is not a joke.
Like, oh my god.
And then Laszlo's reaction to that is just brilliant, because he just goes, shit.
Going way back to when they're trying to like dispel the email, like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. I love the whole, like, I think it was Nadia, or it might have been Lando, like, maybe it was a joke. It says it's not a joke. It says it right there in the email. This is not a joke.
I do like Nadia. It's like, warning, if you've read this far, it's too late. You stupid bloody donkey, why'd you let me read this far?
Oh man, like, again, like we praise this show to we're blue in the face, but it just speaks to the quality of it. Like, this is such a nothing episode, like episode, but like nothing storyline. This could be 5 minutes and be a pretty good 5-minute joke, but they spend the whole episode on it, and it still works.
It wouldn't if it wasn't them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's all.
That's the sort of the key thing, really, because I went into this like saying at the outset that it's kind of like it's kind of a forgettable of all the episodes in the season. This one of the series so far, this has been the most forgettable one, really. Yeah. But now we're talking about it, we're still finding all these hilarious moments and pulling them out to the forefront again. Of like when she's like, she emails bloody fucking Mary at AOL.com, and then they get a bounce back from the mailer demon, and they're like, demon.
Yeah, the demon part. Oh my god. I also, I love that. I think this bit's in the trailer for the episode, but like at the end when Nandor finally gets done reading, like before he calls everybody, first name he calls is Nadia. not Laszlo.
I mean,
It's like,
wouldn't
I'm
it
in
be
trouble.
yours?
I need help. Yeah, exactly. But it's just, I just love that, like, they're supposed to be, it's like, it's the men of the group. It's like, no, she's definitely the smarter one. I need her first.
Well, it's also,
she's the adult in
smarter
the room.
one, but she's also the one who's obsessed with curses.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes, exactly.
So, like, she is your resident expert on curses, although she's not the best at them. All right, to finish this thing up, I think we should jump back to Guillermo, because that really is where a lot of the plot of this episode is, and where we have to, unfortunately, say goodbye to the majority of our new characters. We met a whole slew of vampires last episode, and not a lot left by the end of this one.
Yeah.
The hunt, we didn't really talk about the vampires in the hunt, and I kind of left that intentionally so that we could, when we get back around to it. I love, like, for these vampires, which we've never met before, and obviously we don't meet after because Guillermo fucking murders them all. Like, what a treat for them. Like, oh wow, so our dinner's literally, like, who ordered delivery? This is great.
Yeah.
Like, a whole bunch of virgins just showed up in our house. Fantastic.
You know, you almost feel bad for the vampire family. Like you see the pictures and like it's like 24 people in this family. They all look happy, and just some people comes up and murders half their family. Like,
Oh yeah, I mean, and Guillermo, like, does not give any fucks. Like, he's just murking everyone he can. Like, the two girls
Yes.
show up, he just stabs them both in the chest.
I mean, the bloody when he goes out the window and just like flips them off.
That was
Yeah.
like his most badass moment. I almost expected an explosion after that, like, because it just felt like that sort of moment where it just flips them both off and jumps backwards out the window. And just the icing on the cake of that moment of, like, all the vampires, and then, like, oh yeah, this is a documentary. And just turn
Yes.
around to the documentary crew.
Again, it's that thing where they do incorporate the camera crew into the story, and they do it so perfectly because they don't overdo it. But when they do it, it's brilliant, and it's just that slow turn and all the eyes.
and the 2-second split of them running down the stairs. You got the boom mic guy running down, just shining his bald head with the cameras.
I did kind of, like, no offense to the boom guy, I kind of wanted him to die. I thought it'd be really funny if, like, there's a running gag whenever they run into vampires, the boom operator gets killed. Maybe that's just me. I thought it'd been funny. But I do just love, like, just that whole moment. Like, that Guillermo moment is so fucking good. Like, we talked a little bit earlier, I think Joel was, where Guillermo throughout the season is trying to figure out who he is. And when the shit hits the fan and he's not trying to figure out who he is, and he just is.
He just goes because he knows.
Right.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
a badass.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, he is full-blown, like, comic book-esque badass vampire hunter. He doesn't miss. He's always accurate. Nobody survives. He's amazing. And it's really cool. Like, he gets out of the house. He runs away. And, like, you can hear, like, he turns back of the house and there's lights flashing. People are screaming. People are being murdered. He's like, I got to go back in. They're going to get murdered. I got to go. And when he runs back in, he just starts destroying everything. And it's like, oh,
Yeah.
shit. Go
Just
Guillermo.
Rex house. It's awesome.
But it's important for his character because it could easily have been just a one note like I am the sad sack familiar that did shit on all the time, and they even reference it through these meetings he has with the Mosquito Party. Like they're not Colin Robinson. The leader says stuff about how like, oh, you know, now these are familiars. They're pathetic, sad losers, and they turn to him and he's just shaking his head no, and he's just like, I don't think that's right. And they could have easily just keep on pinning him on that, and I'm happy to see that they're making this character grow into something beyond that.
Oh, yeah. And they do it so well. Like, it doesn't feel forced. It doesn't feel like, well, it looks like they can only write so much with the 4 vampires. What else are they going to do? Like, it feels organic and it's, like, perfect for the show. Like I remember when I first saw the promo art and the familiar was always in the promo art, like, I'm like, that's kind of weird. Like, going way back to before season 1. And now mid-season 3, or at least where I'm at mid-season 3, I know season 3's ended by this point, like, the show does not work without Guillermo. Like, he's such an important part to it, and season 2 is really where they cement that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's quite funny as well. Like the Craig Robinson character, where he's the one who's been sort of acting all badass and everything, and then he's just got that line. It's like, I shot a stake in my foot.
Oh, they're so ill prepared for those bloodsuckers or mosquitoes or all their crazy nicknames they had for him, or acceptable terms we call vampires. Like, what a waste of a meeting. All right. Is there anything that we missed in this episode that we want to make sure we talk about, or should we move into favorite moments?
I'm good.
Yeah, I think we're good.
The Nadja Dolls was back for one.
Oh yeah, Nadja Doll did come back, didn't it?
Yeah.
I love Nadja Doll. It's probably my favorite character in this season, but we'll get to that much later on in the season. Joel, since you've already kind of mentioned your favorite moment, why don't you go first?
We already talked about Colin. I guess my other favorite is just, we just talked about it. Guillermo going balls to the wall, badass. That is such a cool action sequence, and it's a nice breakup from the sort of like haunting, I'm gonna grab one person and bite them kind of vampire focus. Like it's a real nice change of pace.
Yeah, it's a really cool sequence.
Yeah, it's kind of like Blade in terms of like the types of vampire.
Yeah.
Like you've got your vampire films that are like creepy and things like that, and then you've got your vampire films that are a bit more actiony.
Yeah.
That feels like Blade is, so that feels like a real action sequence, and the way it's shot and everything like that. Even though it's supposed to be a documentary, it still manages to fit in like sort of like the action movie style editing and camera work.
Yeah, definitely. Drew, what about you?
I actually have to piggyback on what Joel said. Like, it starts when I gotta go back in. They're gonna get murdered, and then he just fucking wrecks house throughout that entire place. I love that whole sequence. It's great. The action, just him being a badass, and like you were talking about how like it is Blade-esque, but like Blade knows he's a badass. Guillermo just goes in and does it. Like he doesn't even think about it. There's no statuesque like looking at camera. Like there's no pause where like they're eyeing up the vampires or anything. It's just ass kickery. It's great. I love it.
But it's also like Blade knows he's a badass. Guillermo knows he's not, and he's wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
But he knows that he's not a badass. But it's like, dude, you're wrong.
Yeah.
You're wrong.
But I mean, but he's not like, because that's the case though, he doesn't take time to like do like the thousand-eyed stare down the hall at the vampire. It's just like, he's like, nope, you gotta die, get him out, you gotta die.
So good.
Killing twins, like, yeah, it's awesome.
I mean, it's kind of a bit more realistic in that respect as well, because like if you do a 1,000-yard stare at like a vampire down the corridor, the vampire's just going to come and eat you.
That's very true. Especially with like how those twins moved, they could just kind of like
Yeah.
And we don't know
Exactly.
Nandor can appear as a mist on a lawn, so we don't know what they're gonna do. You gotta kill him.
Fucking guy.
That's just reminding me of like, is it the first episode of season 1 where he turned into a mist and got sucked through the air purifier and came out with white hair.
Oh my god, I forgot about that. All right, Matt, what about you? Favorite moment of this episode?
I mean, like, again, my favorite moment is like the sort of the Guillermo stuff, but I think we've kind of like done that to death. So I'll just go with like funniest line. I think is between Nadia and Laszlo. And it's, where are we going to get the email addresses? The email address shop? No, I'm guessing they'll be closed this time of night.
Oh, that's such a good line.
It's the sincerity he says that with as well. It's like he's not being sarcastic. He actually thinks there is an email address shop.
Oh man, since I kind of agree with Matt. Like, I don't want to just keep jumping on the Guillermo sequence because that definitely was my favorite, specifically the middle finger and the jump out the window. But
so good.
Since we've talked about it so much, I will just for the fun of it, I'm going to throw out the Colin Robinson writing down his email address because it's just such a ridiculous sequence, and just fucking Matt Berry just with this like, just say it. Just say it to me. Oh no, I can't do that. Like, just the two of them back and forth. It's so goddamn funny.
I like the way it's buttoned off as well, where they just snatch it off him and he goes, travelbug41 at AOL.com. And then it just cuts to Colin Robinson saying, I chose that name because I like to travel. And then cuts away. It's like there's nothing else there. It's just literally that, and it's done.
Oh my god, it's so good. All right, I think that's it. I think we should start moving into plugs and we'll mention next week's episode. Let's start with plugs. This show and every other show on the ATH Network. Be sure to check out athpod.com. We are in the middle of Bette Midler month over at BTH, and it's been a lot of fun. And I'll tease it here first. We have started discussing the end of Behind the Hype and the beginning of whatever will come next. It will not happen back to back. There will be a big break in between the two things. But tune in now, because Behind the Hype only has, I think, like 6 months left, so set your watch to that. But it is winding down. We have an end in sight, and then we have our next thing, which will be drastically different than After the Hype and Behind the Hype, but it should be equally fun. But John and I are prepping that, and Chewie is along as well. She does not care as much about the prep. She's more so just like, tell me what we're recording on, and I'll talk about it. Which I appreciate. That definitely helps. Drew, what about you? What's going on with Demon Days?
We are back with some regular episodes. We recently got the chance to finally record around a table again, so October 29th was the last one that dropped, I believe, and they should be popping out every Friday. So, yeah, we're excited to be back. You can find me over at Strength24 on Twitch, and we've got a couple of games that are still running on Eric Frankhouse Presents. That's Eric with a K, and then over on Norse Foundry, the Dice Company, on their Twitch channel, we're playing our Blade Runner Alien crossover game using dogs, using aliens. Using Free League Press's Alien Rules, which are awesome, and using Stream Loot cards on all those shows, so come check it out.
Sounds like a ton of fun. I love that crossover.
Sounds amazing.
It
Joel?
is brutal. I may die this next episode. It's going to be rough.
Good luck.
We all may die.
Joel, what about you? What you plugging?
My daughter would like to plug the delivery man who just arrived here a second ago.
And that's between him and the delivery man.
I am part of a group of a podcast called Super GG Radio. We've had a lot of indie game focus, and we're sort of at the point now where they're making like PlayStation 1 quality games for independent devs. So it's been kind of a fun sort of revisit of that stuff. You can find us anywhere you find your podcast. We also have a Twitch channel, twitch.tv/superggradio. Come hang out, harass us, tell us what we're doing bad.
Matt, anything to plug?
No.
Fair enough. All right. Thank you, everyone, so much for listening. Be sure to tune in next week when we talk about Oh Boy, what an episode. Directed by the amazing, none other than Jermaine Clement. So bringing out the big guns for this one as we talk about Colin's promotion.
I mean, I saw the name of the next episode. I nearly just watched it.
Holy mother of God, what an episode we have in front of us. I'm very excited for it. So be sure to tune in next week when we talk about it. Thank you again, everyone. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Toodles.